All right, we're ready to do the final stage in our sunrise over the rice fields painting here. And in order to do that, we're gonna do some blending, softening edges, and then building up some final marks. You know, there's any number of ways that you can blend. I have a bunch of different tools here. I have a lot of different brushes that I use. Flat brushes, this little Hake brush, a blending stump. This is a rubber blender. This is a bristle brush. And you know, they all have their place. And I do like this particular Hake a lot. So keep that out. It's soft, so it doesn't knock all the pigment off of the painting. But I just want to kind of break down some of the texture and some of the transitions between the water and the grasses of the rice. And another thing that it will do is it will diffuse, it will kind of scumble over the red underpainting and diffuse it. So sometimes that's a good thing, and other times you don't want to cover over all that. So again, we still want to develop this carefully, because once our underpainting is covered, it's covered. Now I use my fingers as well, just kind of rub and scrub around, especially away from our focal point. The edges can soften in this painting. So I'm just gonna diffuse some of that. As you can see, a lot of the pigment is just dropping off of the surface of the paper. There we go. So some of that granular texture is knocked back when you diffuse it with a brush. I like to set up the area for the next layer of pastel. So right in this, where I'm gonna put some more nice solid strokes, I'm just setting up that area with some out of focus, soft focus diffusion. Kind of a smoky, hazy effect with the light. Even as this river kind of sneaks up toward the top of the painting. There's more red than I need over here in the underpainting, so I'm just going to scumble over a little bit of that. Just take some of this green down over parts of the underpainting. So there's a nice relationship developing now between the flicker of the underpainting and then the pigment on top. Diffusing the transition between the dark strokes and their adjoining pigments. Okay. Good. You know, nice grasses, get some nice vertical movements through the water. So that's that Hake brush. I really enjoy that as a blending tool. All right, now things have gotten, as a consequence of all this blending, things have gotten a little bit too quiet. So that's where we want to finish off with some nice, strong, crisp marks in color. Come back to a light pink and just punch up some of these nice want to make that sunlight really radiate and resonate. This painting is about the sun. It's about that sunrise moment. That's what it's about. That's where we want to draw the viewer's attention. And we've got a few layers of pastel here. It'll take much more pastel on this sanded paper. Okay, let's go back. Go back into the violet color here. Just need to pull this cloud layer up a bit. As it nice. Freshen up these marks on these clouds. A little more of this violet gray down in the water as well. And as you can see, what happens after we've diffused, blended, and softened is these crisp, strong marks that kind of freshen up the whole area. We're starting to feel that water wiggle its way through the painting. I'm going to go back to some green. Oop, this is a real blue green. Beautiful, powerful color. This is going to be a very impressionistic painting. Make some nice bold strokes. Take that same color, but a little darker. Down at the bottom where this shadowy area. There we go, that's nice. Use some linear strokes just to get that feeling of the grasses. So I've got kind of one eye on how much of this red I want to have show through at the bottom. Very light, so I'll just drag a very light touch over this to not completely cover it. And then a strong, bold stroke here. All right. Close in that value as it moves up under the river. Try to use some really light orange or a golden kind of orange, yellow gold color. My fingers are filthy. Just clean them up quickly with a wet wipe. Whenever you go and use your light colors, you've got to be sure your fingers are clean. Right in between the light area and the dark with that nice golden sparkle. It really brings the eye up into this area. I'm gonna go a little lighter than this creamy yellow with the final sunlight color, but let's just push it around a little more. Really squint the eyes. The light just kind of catching a bit of the cloud there as it rises above the horizon and causing it to just radiate. This is a little less colorful, this light ochre. And then we can just, I'll use my finger to soften that out. That's just to use a straight white. Sun. What else? Let's do a little bit more right down here too. In the refinement stage, you could spend any length of time really, but get these darks to unify a bit. I think we need a little more orange glow around the sun here. So right underneath the sun as it drapes over the horizon, just kind of warm that up with an orange glow, a reddish glow. Bring that underpainting color back on top. That's effective. Away from the light, this cool blue-gray. Just a bit of pink to sparkle up this moment up in between the clouds and the sun. Nice color accent, right? I just think if you put it in the sky, you should put it in the river. Earthy green here and there. Just adjust just a bit of the shape of the horizon. Not too bad. I'm gonna feel this light just kind of melting down over the it's nice. Just melting down over the clouds, over the field. Now you can refine your painting to any level of finish. I'm choosing a very impressionistic finish here. Sometimes I like to see how a painting looks by putting a frame over it, so we're gonna do that now. I'm just gonna pull this out of the way. So you can see, even just with the frame placed over this piece, what a wonderful impact that color of the red, that underpainting flickering through the whole scene creates. So what an effective way to use a color, a complementary color underneath the painting to create a whole nother different kind of mood and dynamism to your work. So I hope you enjoyed this. Now get out in your studio and try a complementary underpainting on your own work.